Welcome, everybody, to the PodAskew Podcast. My name is CJ, and with me is my hetero life mate, Rico.
Hey, everybody. How are you today?
Oh, I'm playing hurt, brother.
Oh, yeah? You're not feeling good?
Yeah, I'm a little under the weather, but we persevere. We are here. I am here.
And I'm over here.
Yes.
So, off camera, we both talked a little bit about that we saw some movies that we want to talk about, so I'll let you dive right into it because I know 100% what I will say about the movie, so I'm going to let you go first.
Okay, well, there's two movies I saw, and I feel like one of which I've seen 100 times, and you were supposed to watch as homework, and I'm pretty sure you haven't done it, and that would be Hackers. Because we talked about that on a previous episode, and I'm sure you haven't
I haven't done it.
Yeah, well, us talking about it made me want to go watch it, so I went and watched it like 3 times, because I love that movie. It's not a good movie. I said that last time, and I'm going to stick to it. It's not a great movie, but it's fun. And if you're a computer geek like I am, it's fun to watch.
Okay, so it's definitely one I definitely need to see.
But
What was the other one?
The other one was Sucker Punch.
Oh, God.
Well, all right. Deb and I were out at a Big Lots. Do you guys have those out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think so. Yeah. I've seen commercials for it, so I assume it.
It's somewhere between Target and Walmart. It's basically one of those kinds of stores.
I don't think I've ever been to one, but I think I've seen.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm telling you. It's a little bit nicer than Walmart, but not as nice as Target. So it's right in the middle there. And they had movies for Blu-rays for $5. And Sucker Punch is a movie she's been talking about for a while, and we were shopping anyway, so I threw it in the cart, and off we went.
Well, Sucker Punch is also relevant to what you're talking about because we're going to be talking about the director of Sucker Punch in this video, in this podcast.
Oh, because he does do one, doesn't he? One in that world. Because I thought he was mainly on the other team.
Zack Snyder?
Yeah, he did one in that world.
Zack
right?
Snyder? No, he did 3.
3? Okay.
Yeah, he did Man of Steel, he did Batman vs. Superman, and technically he did most of Justice League.
I might have my directors confused then. Who did the first 2 X-Men?
Hang on. Dude, I should know this.
Yeah, you should.
Singer, Bryan Singer.
Okay.
I couldn't read the font, but I remembered it. So
well, I had a comment, and I was going to say about Sucker Punch, but that was because I thought Zack Snyder was Bryan Singer.
No, Bryan Singer did Superman Returns. He didn't do Man of Steel.
Right. But that's what I'm saying. I got the 2 people confused. I know who Zack Snyder is now. I'm clear. But at the time I was watching it, I got him backwards because you know that Bryan Singer was accused of some stuff.
I do. I also know it's not the first time he's been accused.
Right. Well, all I can say is that if I was right and Bryan Singer was Zack Snyder, which he's not, full disclosure, I could see how he'd be accused because that's just shy of porn minus sex scenes. That's a weird fucking movie.
I don't know if I've been a fan of Zack Snyder, and the thing is that there's a lot of people who fucking love Zack Snyder. Like, I'm on some of those Facebook movie like groups or whatever,
right?
And there is just a whole army for fucking Snyder fans. And look, all the power to you. I'm not saying don't like your favorite filmmaker, love your favorite filmmaker. All the power to you. But my opinion is Snyder is a great visual director, but not a very good character development director.
Okay, and we'll get into more of that because we'll
talk.
We
about
are talking
that
DC tonight. That's what this is about, and that's what Rico's alluding to. We're going to get into the DC movies, maybe the TV shows, maybe the animated, depending on how much time we have and how long we spend on other stuff. But
for once, we're not talking only Marvel. Now we can actually, because we were holding off on this because we wanted to do a whole episode about DC. Because we kept alluding to it, being like, oh shit, Marvel did this, DC did that, but let's save the whole DC conversation for another time. And here we are at that other time. But before we get into that, I want to talk about the other fucking movies that I saw.
Well, wait, before you do that, let me talk about Sucker Punch a little bit because I didn't really. Yeah. So first off, it's a really hard movie to follow. Like, what the hell's going on? Like, do you remember it at all?
It's what? It's an asylum or something, and they're in their own fucking magical world, like in their own fantasy or some shit. Like
Right,
I
but
saw
that's
it
not.
and then I fell asleep.
But that's not very clear until the end of it. Like it's hard to know what's real and what's not. And obviously it's a movie, so none of it's real. But the best part of the movie for me was. Well, it was cool to see Poe Dameron before he was Poe, because I have a feeling that was long before he was in X-Men
I forgot he's in that.
Yeah, he is. I was like, holy shit, it's Poe. But there's that, and I can't remember his name, but the guy who plays Stick from Daredevil is in that movie.
Shit.
I'll look it up.
I know who you're talking about. The guy, he was in Sound Slams.
He's the captain of the American ship in Hunt for Red October. Like, he's in a bunch of stuff.
No, that guy is like a fucking like bastard of like, not like a bad bastard. Like, he is, fuck is his name? Because he once did 1,000 push-ups on, like, when they were taking a break on set of like some movie. I think it was like Urban Cowboy or something, or whatever the fuck he was in. And he like just to prove how strong he was, just did like 1,000 push-ups.
Scott Glenn.
That's right, Scott Glenn.
Scott Glenn. And like we said, he's been in a bunch of stuff. He's a badass, and he was a badass in this movie. And he was probably the highlight of the movie for me.
I'm looking up Sucker Punch as well, because I'm holy shit, there's a lot of people in this.
Yeah, there is. John Hamm's in it, but I don't think he
John
has
Hamm, Jesus.
But I don't think he has a line. Like, I think he's just there. Like, I don't think he says a word.
Carla Gugino, I love Carla Gugino. She's one of my favorites.
Okay, I don't know who that is.
Carla Gugino, she did a lot of TV stuff, but she was also in Sin City.
Oh yeah, she's also in Watchmen.
She's in Watchmen. I think she's worked with Snyder more than once. But she was in a really good Stephen King adaptation. Like, my favorite Stephen King novella is called Gerald's Game. And my friend Michael and I, like, we were like, that was our favorite, book. And we deemed it unfilmable because it was such a fucking, like, how the hell are they going to make a movie about this? And then Netflix did a movie, and she absolutely killed it. Like, it was so good. It was like better than we could have hoped for. If you're a Stephen King fan and you like want a legit good Stephen King adaptation, check out Gerald's Game on Netflix. And I know I work in a video store. I'm telling you to sign up on Netflix to watch this movie. It's well worth it.
All right.
Oh, it's so good, man.
I was looking it up. I was hoping that Sucker Punch was based on like a anime, or at least adapted from, because it has a very anime thing. The girls are all in skimpy clothes throughout the whole thing, and the one girl's called Baby Doll, and she's dressed like a baby doll the whole time. The thigh-high stockings and the heels and the skirt, and she's jumping around and kicking people's asses and shit. It's a really fucking weird movie. The best review I got about this movie, though, was because Deb was the one who wanted to see it. She's like, I haven't seen this, and I used to love this movie. Let's watch it, whatever. But she hasn't seen it in years. And we watched through the whole thing, and she turned to me, and before she could say anything, I said, so what the fuck was that? And she goes, and she said to me, she says, I remember that being better.
Yeah.
So, that's really all there is to it.
I remember that not being better.
Yeah, that was not, it was weird. I don't know that we'll watch it again, but for $5, I don't feel like we got stiffed too bad. So, it is what it is.
I was not a fan of it, but I mean, like you said, $5 is not, I mean, I wouldn't pay $5 for it. Let's put it that way. We had like options to sell it at work for like, and I would have gotten it for $2.50, and I was like, I don't care.
Yeah,
nope,
no,
not gonna happen.
If I had seen it before we bought it, I wouldn't have bought it. But what are you gonna do?
Right.
All right. So, what did you see?
I saw Red Sparrow.
Oh, really? How was that?
Better than I thought it was going to be, but still not like a classic. It really tries to be a Russian spy type of classic movie. It's true. Like, they talk, because I looked it up afterwards and I did some trivia hunting, and it's true. The director, Francis Lawrence, talks about, he's like, look, there's going to be a lot of comparisons to the character of Black Widow. from Marvel.
I've actually heard it described as the Black Widow, the non-Black Widow Black Widow movie.
It is like Black Widow with sex. Like that little segment of Age of Ultron. Well, the little segment of Age of Ultron where we see Black Widow.
Yeah, her past.
It's that. Yeah, it's that, but expanded and very sexualized. Here's the thing. For me, Jennifer Lawrence, I think, was given too much fame, too much recognition too early in her career. Because now Hollywood is trying to shove her into all these roles that I don't think she's ready for, and I don't think she has the capabilities of grasping. She's a fine actress, and I admit that I am a pseudo fan, but I'm more of a fan of her public persona than her actual acting ability.
I thought she was good as Mystique. I really did.
I thought she was fine as Mystique, but that's the point: is that she's fine as Mystique, and she's. But like they keep drumming her down. We're like, okay, now she's super sexy, and she's Russian, and she's also like the role in Red Sparrow, the character is supposed to be super intelligent.
Yeah. And
Jennifer Lawrence does not, for me, convey the intelligence as well.
Well,
it's almost like
no, go ahead.
It just seems like she's like, you know how like you could see an actor who's playing a mathematician, like Russell Crowe in A Beautiful Mind.
Right.
He's playing a mathematician. You kind of genuinely believe that he did his homework and he like knows the math he's talking about.
Right.
Whereas you see other actors just like talking about math and you know they're just repeating their lines.
Well, let me ask you this. I haven't seen Red Sparrow, full disclosure. I have not seen it. But
yeah,
do you think, based on what you're telling me and a little bit I've heard on my own, that she got the role from a bit part from X-Men Apocalypse where she's rescuing Nightcrawler, like that section of the movie? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Well, you mean, but they're in Germany at the time.
Well, it doesn't matter what country they're in. It's that international spy-ish kind of thing. That's what I mean.
No, I think she got it because the director, Francis Maxwell, had worked with her for like he did 3 or 2 of the Hunger Games movies.
Oh, okay. Then yeah, that makes sense.
No, I'm sorry, not Francis Maxwell, Francis Lawrence. They both have the same last name. Francis Maxwell's like a fucking like liberal news host. I don't know why.
I have no idea.
I don't know why I fucked it up. So I think they're just friends, and I think he signed up. I think it was actually, I think I know a little bit more history. Originally, it was Darren Aronofsky that was supposed to direct it.
It might have made it better. Aronofsky's a good director. But
Aronofsky and Lawrence, not only did they do the movie Mother together, or as I pronounce it, Mother, because it's got an exclamation point at the end.
Oh, does it? I didn't see that. I heard it was bad. Everyone I talked to said it was bad.
I lasted all of 20 minutes of it. It was one of those movies where I'm just like, I'm done. Like, I don't even really want to pursue it. They were also in a relationship.
Oh, yes, I remember that.
Mother and afterwards. So I think when he got the script, he said, you should do this. And then he bowed out. And then she probably brought in Francis Lawrence.
Okay.
I think this was kind of her baby. Also, she did it in response to the fact that her iCloud account or whatever got hacked a couple years ago.
That. Yeah.
So she was like, well, if I'm going to go nude, I'm going to go nude on my own terms. People want to see my naked body.
Is she nude in this?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay.
And I don't want to come off like a fucking cretin motherfucker, but that was a little bit of why I was curious. But also, the nudity was real, far less than I expected, because I had read reports that she was like naked a lot in that movie, but she's really not. She's only naked in like 1 or 2 scenes.
Well, to be fair, you said you only made it 20 minutes in, so.
No, I'm talking about Red Sparrow. Not Mother.
What?
I only made 20 minutes into Mother, not into Red Sparrow.
Okay.
I saw all of Red Sparrow. I will say that there are some really good supporting actors. Jeremy Irons is in it, and he's good, always fucking amazing.
He's going to be someone we talk about later too.
Yeah, he's going to be really. I was always a big fan of Jeremy Irons. Also, I want to say Ciarán Hinds, isn't it? So Steppenwolf is in it as well.
Okay.
As well,
this is perfect
as,
then, because we're just tying all together. What was the other movie you said you saw?
I saw the remake of Death Wish. I saw the Bruce Willis Death Wish.
I didn't see it.
And that was another one that I was surprised I liked it more than I thought it was going to, because both these films were either mixed or got terrible reviews. The Charles Bronson Death Wish original one, I always saw the original. I never saw the other, like the fucking 30 sequels they made. That's a classic. This one I also felt was surprisingly good, because you and I are both like of the cusp of like Bruce Willis was like awesome, and then he just became an asshole.
Right, because I used to love Die Hard, the Die Hard series.
Oh yeah. Well, I still love Die Hard. I still love Die Hard with a Vengeance. That's
the best one. But I actually like Live Free or Die Hard a lot, because I'm a tech guy, so I like all the tech stuff that's in that. I know it's not a great movie, but I do like all that stuff.
Plus Kevin shows up.
Right? But that's not, honestly, like, I liked it even before I knew Kev was in it. You know what I mean? Like, because he doesn't show up till like 2/3 through the movie or whatever.
Did you feel like that was out of place a little bit?
What, Kev?
Yeah, just a little bit.
No, not really. I mean, what do you mean?
I don't know. It's just like, I love Kev. We all know that, and I love Die Hard. But once I saw Kevin on screen in a Die Hard film, I'm just like, this is so bizarre of a concept, because I don't think I could look at Kevin in another movie and not think this is a Clerks sequel.
Well, see, here's the thing. No, I could, but here's the thing. I saw Live Free or Die Hard before I got into the podcasts, so I was really not used to hearing Kevin talk so much. So that, and I'm not saying that as I know it sounds like I'm making a joke, but I'm really not. Like, the most I had seen him as was Silent Bob. So to hear him talk that much and be that animated before I know what I know now about him was weird. That was the thing that was out of place for me. Not him specifically being in the movie, but seeing him that animated and that vocal.
I got something to admit, that you'll find this funny. And you also kind of find it very strange.
Well, that's most things with you, Rico.
Right. We all know, if you've listened, that I saw Jay and Silent Bob first out of all the movies. You also have to remember I was 10. Right. So I had no fucking clue. I genuinely, because I was just a little kid, but I knew nothing about Kevin. I genuinely kind of thought Kevin was mute.
Okay, that's fair.
But when they get to the point, he for me, his vocal inflection sounded very similar to Jason Mewes.
Well, sure.
Because they both kind of have like kind of rough, kind of low, similar to my voices, like that pitch is sort of low.
Yeah. Well, they both, all three of you smoke, so that probably has something to do with it. Yeah.
So when Silent Bob screams at Jay, he's like, the sign on the back of the car said critters are of Hollywood.
You dumb fuck.
Yeah. I thought Jay was the voice. I thought they dubbed Jay.
Oh, that's funny.
Silent Bob.
That's kind of funny.
And then when they did his whole monologue at the end, where he's like, we're not only the artistic license, we're also the actual license. Like, do that whole thing with Banky.
Yeah.
I thought Jay dubbed him too in that. I'm like, wow, funny. Jay's getting a lot of fucking screen time or a lot of vocal.
Right.
Because I just thought he was genuinely like a deaf mute.
Right. Nope.
And then I saw Silent Bob. I saw even with Kevin Smith, and I'm like, holy shit, this guy talks way more than I thought.
Well, okay, so you brought up something I just want to ask you really quick, because I don't want to get into a whole thing, and we definitely got to dive into DC, and there is a lot to talk about. But best Silent Bob monologue, and not even monologue, because the one's really only like 2 lines, but it's the Critters thing or the monologue from Chasing Amy in a diner. Chasing Amy,
100%.
I mean, I love that, and I agree, but okay, that's his best, like, 2-liner one, I guess.
That's the first, well, I don't know, there's something amazing about No Ticket. That is...
True.
That's also amazing.
You know he was dying to do that because he's a huge indie fan.
Oh, yeah. And also, it's very obscure because it's the third indie.
Right.
You know, and I love Last Crusade.
I think it's the best. Yeah, it's the best indie. Yeah. And a lot of people agree. Some people will argue with you about Raiders, and Raiders is great, but I think Last Crusade is the best
great. One. Temple of Doom is also great. They're all, well, they're not all.
If I'm gonna, I like Crystal Skull. I know a lot of people don't. I like it. I'm not saying it's the greatest. For me, if I was ordering them real quick, it would be Last Crusade, Raiders, Crystal Skull, Temple of Doom. I really don't like Temple. That's just me, though.
Temple, I'm almost the same way, but it'd be Crusade, Raiders, Doom, and then
Crystal
Skull. Yeah. All right.
And most people go your way that I've talked to, but
Temple of Doom is just, for me, I have a hard time watching it because I was plagued with a reoccurring nightmare.
Okay.
That was very reminiscent of it.
The best
whereas,
part,
like, the whole.
Go ahead.
I talk about this on a Rico's Rants, Temple of Doom episode, where for years, and I still occasionally get this nightmare, I'm at a, Temple of Doom arena, and there's 2 cages, and there's a person in each one, and the classic thing is, my mother or my father, and I have to choose who gets to get and who gets to walk away. And then it would go really random and obscure. It'd be it'd be the classic things like my mother or my father, my 2 older twin brothers, my 2 best friends, and then it would go really crazy. It'd be a girl I babysat when I was 7, and then my mother's friend's nephew, 2 people I vaguely know, and I'm it would just go really.
If it ever comes really down to me and Steph, I know who loses. So.
Well, to be fair, because I've talked about this a lot to a lot of people. I said everybody's been dipped. Everybody has been dipped, including myself. There have been times where I just said I'll sacrifice myself for both of them, and I dive into lava.
Gotcha.
So, all right, but moving on.
Well, real quick, the best part about Temple is Short Round. I love Short Round. I know it's stereotypical and almost a little bit racist.
If I want to watch Short Round, I just watch The Goonies.
Well, yeah, I think he's a little better in Temple, but I get you. I'm not a big fan of Goonies. I know it's a popular movie and a lot of people love it, but I'm not a big fan.
I love The Goonies, man. That was, for me, I'm always using that as a recommendation at work because I get a lot of overzealous dads that want to show their 6-year-old Raiders of the Lost Ark, and I'm like, hang on. Show them Goonies first. If they can handle Goonies, then Raiders is a nice bridge.
Yeah. But yeah, I agree. So I don't know.
Hold on. Are we going to talk about all the DC movies, or are we going to talk about the DC universe?
Well, that's a good question. I was going to ask you. You beat me to it.
We could do a whole segment about the Nolan trilogy.
I think we could. I think we could do a whole thing on just Batman movies. Period. I mean, this is a big pool to pick from and to dip into. So,
well, I think we should start with Superman, because Superman is sort of the Superman Christopher Reeve stuff
is the Iron Man
not forgotten.
Yeah,
it's not forgotten, but Batman has sort of eclipsed them.
Well, and to be fair,
every time someone talks about DC, it's always about Batman first.
Well, to be fair, if you even go to the comic books, I think Batman's eclipsed Superman. Batman's always been their number one star for years. I mean, maybe in the beginning, Superman, but the beginning of DC,
was, and then.
But Batman easily eclipsed it.
Yeah, because I think people love Superman, but also people are like, Batman is different because he's a man, and Superman is a superhero.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, short of him being a billionaire or trillionaire, whatever he is, Batman's a little more relatable than Superman. You know what I mean?
Well, I wanted your opinion on this because Superman is adopted.
Right.
And you're adopted. So when you were a kid, did you identify with Superman based on that?
No, I was always a Marvel guy. to be honest with you. Like, I was really a Marvel guy when I was a kid. I didn't really fall into DC until I got much later in life. But to your point, I will tell you a very interesting story. So, and I've talked about before about being adopted, and I found my biological family in the last 5 years or whatever it is at this point. It's almost 6. Right. But I saw, I'm not kidding you, Man of Steel a week after I found my biological mother. So so in that movie, and I know we're going to talk about the older ones, and we will, but just give me a second. But in that movie, when he's gone and found the ship in, was it South Pole or North Pole, wherever it was, and
North Carolina, the fuck,
yeah, wherever. But he's on the ship and he's talking to Russell Crowe for however long, and he comes back and he talks to his mom and he goes, "I found my parents," which is like a week or two after I had found mine. So that scene, that moment really hit home for me. Like, I almost I did tear up a little bit. Like, I wasn't bawling. I wasn't to that level, but it was just like, right. and it was happy tears. Like, it wasn't sad tears. It was like, I knew what that felt like more than anyone else in that theater. Well, not fair, because I don't know what those people's stories were, but you know what I'm saying. More than most people.
It was bittersweet.
No, it's pretty much just sweet. So,
well, at the same time, I mean, I'm kind of imagining, because you're right. He goes to fucking Martha and he tells her, he's like, I found my parents, and she's like, I would almost imagine for a split second, she's like, well, I'm your fucking parent.
Well, see, and I don't want to get into a whole thing here, because a lot of people, when I found my biological family, the first question everybody asked me was, well, is your mom okay? Meaning my adopted mom. Is she okay with this? And as I had to keep saying to people, that's something she's wanted me to do since I was 18.
Yeah, I can imagine that.
So the fact that I waited another almost 13 years to do it, because I wasn't ready, so mom was fine. She was ecstatic. Everyone else was more upset for her than she was.
Right.
So
yeah.
to the same point, going back to the movie, she could have very well been the same way. Now, they don't express it, they don't address it, but she could have easily been like, you need to find out who you are. And there's nothing wrong with that. I still know where I fit into your life, but you also have this. Like, my mom looks at me finding my biological family as not me replacing her, but just extending our family.
Sure.
So,
well, your mom is. I think if the situation was different, where you had I don't know the background, but there are adoptive parents that hide the biological parents for whatever reason, whether it's past trauma, past whatever the fuck, or just the fact they're like, no, you're my child, I raised you, why, blah blah blah. I could see that being a part of it. It sounds like your mother.
No, my mom told me from the earliest age, as soon as I was old enough to comprehend the concept, that I was adopted. So that's never been a hidden thing from me. And she's never had a bad thing to say about my biological mom, because she feels like she made the right choice. And I'm not putting anything out there, but my biological mom was 16 when she had me.
Right.
So she made the choice that at 16, she wasn't ready to have and take care of a child, and she wanted her child to be with a family that could handle it. And that's how I ended up where I ended up.
Overall, are you happy with how things turned out?
Yes, 100%. Because here's the other thing about it. I have this disability. I got put with a nurse, and a stubborn Irish nurse at that. So the doctors who diagnosed me told her, and I have no problem putting this out there, told her, because I was like a month old or 6 months old, something like that I would never walk, talk, or potty train. So basically, I'd be this vegetable. Well, clearly I'm not.
Well, I don't know how well potty trained you are.
Well, it depends on how drunk I am. But that's another. No. No, but seriously, I function. I live on my own. I lived on my own. Deb lives with me now, but I lived on my own for, almost 18 years before I met her. So, I mean,
wow.
Yeah, so I've been living on my own since I was 21. So.
A little late.
Well, I know a lot of people are. My mom that's a story for another day, and it's not anything bad about my mom. It's just too in depth to get into tonight. We're gonna get way off where we want to go, but I was basically told at one point you have to find somewhere else to live.
Yeah.
And I had to find my own place. And I will say, and I will leave it with this for tonight. And if people want to hear about this, we'll talk about it on an episode. I've got no problem doing it. But
absolutely,
it actually was the best thing that could have happened to my mom and my relationship, because we used to fight all the time. And now that we don't live under the same roof, she's one of my best friends. Like, we have an amazing relationship now. So, that's where that goes. So, getting back to the DC stuff, I saw that right after having found my family, and so I really got it. So that movie holds a special place in my heart, I think, because of that moment, even though it's well beyond it at this point. But every time I watch that and I see that, I'm taken back to that feeling and that moment, even if it's just for 10 seconds or whatever it is. But
well, I didn't have, obviously, I didn't have that type of reaction with Man of Steel. When I saw Man of Steel, I liked it. I didn't love it, but I liked it. I thought it was I do think Henry Cavill is a great Superman.
Yeah.
But I also think he could do better if he had he's not really Superman yet. I think we caught a glimmer of that in parts of Justice League.
I agree. I agree 100%.
But I think Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, he primarily was this angry, kind of, he didn't have any joy.
Well,
and that was my main criticism of most of the DCU films, was there's just no joy.
Well, what does Ralph Garman call him? Emo Superman, I think, is what he calls him.
No, he calls him Hobo Superman.
Hobo Emo. He said that once. I remember that. Hobo Emo Superman.
Well, Cav calls the Brandon Routh Superman Returns the whiny emo Superman.
Right, but
which I agree with.
I don't. Here's what I think happened with Superman Returns. I think, and it's Singer that does that movie, right? I'm getting my people right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I think Singer basically went to him and said, "Look, we're doing a direct sequel to Superman 2, because that's what it is. Mm-hmm. Let's call it a spade a spade." And he says, I think he said to Brandon Routh, "Do your best, Christopher Reeve." I really do. I don't think that's Brandon Routh, because if you watch him on when he was on Arrow and then now on Legends, that's a completely different dude. So no, I get it. He's acting, and all actors can be different in different roles. But the point is, some actors bring a very stylized thing to every character they do. That's not what's happening here. So I think they said to him, "Do your best, Christopher Reeve." Now, maybe it's not a good one, but
I think he looked visually like Christopher Reeve.
Oh,
he
absolutely.
looked a lot like Christopher Reeve. But I don't think Christopher Reeve had joy. Even when he was making like 3 and 4, which are like the worst ones.
Yeah.
He still was like, he changed his persona. When he was Superman, he was, General, care to step outside? He was very theatrical and very like, I am Superman. And then when he was talking to Lois, he was kind of weak and kind of, Lois, yeah. Whereas I just felt like Brandon Routh had the Clark Kent persona and mix it up with a Superman persona.
Well, and to jump back up to Man of Steel for a second, it's one of the things that I liked about Man of Steel a lot is now you don't get a whole lot of Clark Kent in that movie. Like he doesn't join the Daily Planet till almost the end. But
right.
What you don't get is that bumbling buffoon. Do you know what I mean? I didn't like that Clark Kent. I've never been a fan of that. I know it's like that in the books too, but I'm not a fan of that. I like Cavill's take on the role.
I just felt like it's sort of integral to the character because...
With the bumbling buffoon?
Because I look at this and I'm like, how is it that no one is realizing that that Clark Kent is Superman?
Well, yeah,
based on the Man of Steel ones, because he's not even trying to act different.
Well, I guess I could see that too. But, and maybe that's...
Whereas I
don't know.
But what I do appreciate how in Man of Steel, Lois immediately recognizes that,
right?
Right. Like, and Kev and Ralph talk about this, and I don't want to steal their opinions, but I've got to agree with them. The fact that there is no way that a woman reporter who is a Pulitzer-winning, prize-winning journalist is not going to connect the two dots that the guy she's in love with is also the guy that she works across from. Because Kevin makes a really good point, like, either she's incompetent or she's just fucking shallow.
Right. I vaguely remember that conversation. It was a Babylon, wasn't it not?
It was a home Babylon.
A home Babylon, yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was Babylon or the few times Ralph showed up on Fat Man on Batman. That's why I was asking.
Oh, actually, I think it was Fat Man on Batman, because it was Fat Man on Batman, but it was still at their house.
And they were talking about, right, because that's where he used to do Fat Man on Batman, was out of the podcast office.
Well, also because he only finally went to Ralph's house like for the first time like a year ago
for the Ralph report, right? Oh no, before that.
No,
yeah.
It was before that. He was checking out Ralph's Batman collection.
The Batman collection, yeah. Let's face it though, Rico. At the end of the day, everyone's Superman is Chris Reeve. I mean, that's really who.
100%. I mean, there. If we're going to talk about it, there's George Reeves.
Yep.
The original TV actor, who, by the way, Ben Affleck portrayed.
Yeah, you mentioned that in our previous episode. It said Hollywoodland, I think it's called, the movie.
Correct. Yeah, it's really good. I
need to see that. I haven't seen that yet.
I thought I had it.
Oh, you know what I woke up to this morning? I didn't watch it because it was like more than halfway through, but Zodiac was on when I turned on the TV this morning.
I love Zodiac.
I know you do. I remember us talking about it. And I do want to rewatch it because I've seen it, but I will need to see it again. And so I'll have to watch it one night.
Did you see Gone Girl?
No, Gone Girl? Yes. Yeah. The one with Affleck. Yeah, that's a fucked up movie. I mean, it's good, but it's fucked up.
I love how, like, halfway through you see him, like, bulk up because he was training for his Batman.
Oh, is that what it was?
Yeah. So, like, when he's in the shower scene at the end, he's this massive dude. You're just like, oh, fuck. Like, there was no muscle, but, like, he was just getting bigger and bigger.
Well, and he got pudgy for Justice League. Like, it's like, I don't know what happened there.
There was a lot of reshoots. I think he was in shape. But we'll talk. Well, yeah, we'll
get there. I'm just, so briefly. Chris Reeve.
So George Reeves was also a great one. But then Chris Reeve made the magic happen, because when you're watching it on the old serials in black and white, obviously the bars he's bending are made of
plastic
rubber.
Or rubber, yeah.
Obviously he's not flying, he's jumping on a thing, or he's like laying on a table and he's got a fan blowing in his face. But like with Chris Reeve, like they say, you genuinely believe that a man could fly. He had this charm and this twinkle in his eye. I mean, at the very end, when he just looks at the camera and waves to us, you're just like, what Michael Keaton did for Batman, which was surprise us and will always cement us. And you could say the same thing for Adam West or whoever. Now we will always identify that actor with that role.
Yeah, but see, you gotta
Chris
understand
Reeve,
something.
I think.
Go ahead.
No, I'm listening.
No, look, Chris Reeve, everything you've said about him is true, and I'm not going to argue against any of it. But, I don't know, for me, and we've talked about this on another episode, I like Dean Cain better. I loved Lois and Clark. I thought that was a great show. I enjoyed it. And I don't know. I just liked it better. I do. I mean, but that's not to take away from Chris Reeve or for me to say that I think he did a bad job or whatever. Oh God, dragon fruit. You and Debbie. Jesus. She loves that stuff.
Really?
Oh God, she drinks about a gallon. Anyway.
Yeah, if I could, I would.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I mean, believe me, I'm not taking away from Christopher Reeve. I understand the significance and whatnot. But I mean, to the same way, I was alive for Batman. We've talked about it on other episodes. I saw it the summer after it came out because I got the VHS. And to me, I'll take, oh Jesus, Christian Bale over Keaton any day of the week.
I mean, look, we will talk about the different Batmans as well. It'll probably a little bit, but for me, I liked Christian Bale when the Dark Knight movies were coming out. But looking back on it, I think he was a better Bruce Wayne than he was Batman.
Well, I mean, if you're talking about the voice thing, come on, that's...
I'm not just talking about the voice. The voice is a big part of it, but I'm also talking about the costume doesn't, it is amazing Batman if you put Batman in our world. Well, but as a comic book film, it doesn't look right. It looks stiff. It looks stiff and wooden, which is ironic because the Michael Keaton one, he has less mobility, but for some reason it looks more like Batman.
Well, but see, I'd argue that Chris Nolan was trying to put Batman in our world. That was the idea. He was trying to make a realistic Batman.
Right, and at the time, that was fine. But now that I got another taste for fucking Batfleck, I was like, wow. For me, in comparison, Batfleck is far superior. In both in costume, in voice, in muscle tone, in acting performance.
I think he would have been superior if they were doing a Dark Knight Returns movie. Do you know what I mean? Like, that would have been... They should have cast Batfleck for that. That would have been the perfect casting for that. I can't argue with that. But for those standalone Batman movies, Batman Begins, Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises, Christian Bale is the guy.
Christian Bale was... I think for Batman Begins, he was great because that costume looked more like a Batman costume, whereas the Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises costume, to me, looked more motorcycle fetish, I would say.
I think you got that from Ralph, but that's okay.
No, I got that from Under the Red Hood.
Okay. But anyway, I didn't mean to go off on a Batman thing because I know you were talking Superman, but yeah, that's just where I stand on that.
And to be fair, I have never seen the Dean Cain, Lois, and Clark.
It's not look,
Superman.
and that's and I need to explain a little bit. Like it's hard to compare. Well, look, you're our movie guy, so I'm gonna make a statement, and you tell me if I'm right or wrong. It's hard to compare a depiction of a character in a movie versus a depiction of a character in a series because you have less time to show the character. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, so Superman, you get 2 hours, 2.5, whatever it is, to show Superman. Dean Cain as Superman,
there's 4 movies.
Well, right, but I'm talking if we're taking one performance or one instance. Do you know what I'm saying?
Okay,
even if we just took one season of a show, because I think there was 4 seasons of Lois and Clark, I think. But even if you take just one season, you still get, 20 to 32 episodes to show the character versus 2 hours? And I think it was I want to say it was an hour show. I'd have to look it up to be fair, but I think it was an hour show. So even if, 20 episodes, you got 20 hours to develop that character versus 2.
I mean, yes, that's sometimes why TV can be in some ways superior to film.
I think
based on the fact that they can grow and stretch it out and develop and all that shit.
Not to jump back to Marvel, but I think that's why Daredevil works so well the way that it does as a Netflix show versus a movie. I don't think that movie would have done very well, but as a Netflix show, it's amazing because they had time to flush the character out.
Yeah, but at the same time, I would say Iron Man did an amazing job of flushing that character in 2 hours as opposed to a whole show.
No, I agree, but Iron Man I feel is a little more two-dimensional than Daredevil.
No. I mean, Daredevil definitely has a lot of Catholic guilt, which is a lot of things you can expand on. Whereas Tony is just like, I am Iron Man, and I'm a billionaire, and I'm a superhero. But at the same time, I think RDJ's performance helped that.
Absolutely.
If it was anybody else,
it'd be harder.
It would be it'd be very one-dimensional.
So anyway, because we're back to Marvel. But I don't know. I get where Chris Reeve falls into it, and I give him all the respect in the world. And it's not because he's dead or that he got hurt. If he was perfectly fine, I'd say the same thing. Like, he deserves the credit he gets. But to me, I like Man of Steel better. And I actually like Superman Returns better.
I mean, I like Man of Steel better as a movie, but I also think Chris Reeve was a better Superman than Henry Cavill. Like I said, I like Henry Cavill. I think Henry Cavill is doing a good job. Physique-wise, he looks like he could bend bars. He looks like he could fly.
I actually like that in Justice League he didn't look as jacked up as he did in Man of Steel. Like, it looked like it trimmed off a little bit.
I think, no, he had said that he was making Batman vs. Superman that was the growth he was trying to accompany. But he also said, like, well, my character was dead. So. Right,
but I think that's a better look for Superman is what I'm saying. Like, I think him as jacked up as he was in Man of Steel was a little too much.
I saw someone had stretched out his physique to make him look more comic oriented, so they made his muscles bigger and made his shoulders broader. And I'm like, oh man, it'd be like, imagine if you took The Rock with The Rock's physique and put Henry Cavill's head over it. I'd be like, that would be comic accurate.
By the way, we just put out the Deadpool episode today, actually, and we were discussing cables on that episode. One thing I didn't think of that we could have talked about, John Cena. I think John Cena would have been a badass Cable.
If John Cena could act.
I think he could have done the role of Cable.
I think he could have done the smart, alecky, straight man, like, you're just, that line where he's just like, you're just a blah, blah, you're a sex toy or whatever the fuck he said. But I don't think he would have been able to convey the emotions of what his family, spoiler, is killed.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Look, these wrestlers are better actors than people give them credit for. Look at The Rock. I mean, look what he's accomplished.
Yeah, but you also have to remember, look at The Rock in The Scorpion King. I mean, he got better.
Right, but Cena's been in a couple movies.
Years for him to get better.
He's been in a couple movies. I mean, from what I hear, Cockblockers was really good. I haven't seen it, but from what I hear, it was good.
I've heard the same thing. I haven't seen it. And on no disrespect to Cena fucking...
I'm just talking from a physical look. If you would put the cyborg on him, the cyborg guy on him, and maybe grade his hair, he would have been perfect, physically looking.
I will say that John Cena looks perfect for Duke Nukem.
Ooh, that's a good point. Although they should never make that movie.
No, they are. No, they're making it, and he's.
Oh, are they really? Is he playing it?
Yeah.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I looked at that, and I'm like, that's pretty fucking perfect. But as you also remember, they were going to make a fucking Johnny Bravo movie with The Rock years ago. I could also see John Cena playing that.
He's a better fit than The Rock.
Well, the main reason why is the eyebrow. That was literally all it was the eyebrow.
Yeah, and I hate to sound like racial, but I think Dwayne Johnson's too tan, too brown for Johnny Bravo.
He's definitely Samoan, whereas Johnny Bravo
is
clearly blonde.
Blonde, like he's Nordic, That's really what Johnny Bravo is.
I don't know. Bravo sounds Italian.
Well, okay, but he's closer to that than The Rock. That's my point.
God, I never made this connection, but like, if they made Johnny Bravo now, he would be a fucking like blonde Guido. Like, hey yo, I'm Johnny Bravo. Hey, ho ho.
That sounds like, I don't know what that sounded like. It sounded like somebody, but I can't put my finger on it.
It was kind of like Seth Rogen, but like really, really like deep.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move past
that's
Superman.
What I'd love to see Seth Rogen play Johnny Bravo. I'd pay money to see
that. Could be a thing. That really could be a thing. I'd be okay with it. You'd have to put a wig on him or something, but that'd be okay.
They'll never do it.
No.
It'll never happen.
Speaking of which, Green Hornet's technically DC, isn't it?
Green Hornet is technically DC now, but it wasn't originally because it started out as a radio show.
Okay, right, but I
think DC adapted it, and
okay,
just like Marvel adapted Star Wars comics, but Star Wars isn't Marvel. It's the same thing.
Right. Well, I only bring it up because we're talking DC, and there was that Green Hornet movie, which Look, I know in the grand scheme of comic book movies is towards the bottom, but it wasn't as bad as people said, I thought.
I liked it a whole lot better than fucking, what was that? Jonah Hex, piece of shit.
I didn't see Jonah Hex, but it didn't look good, so that's why I didn't see it.
That's one of the rare Josh Brolin movies where I'm just like, ew.
Although, I will tell you that Jonah Hex on the Legends of Tomorrow is done well. I like it there a lot.
Oh, I didn't know he was on Legends. I have not seen any Legends Tomorrow.
You need to watch Legends. It's all on Netflix, dude.
I need to finish Flash first before I do that.
Well, fair enough, but Legends, like, see, all right. So Dev doesn't like any of these shows. She says it's all bad acting and she hates it, so she won't watch any of them. But she kind of likes Flash, but the rest of them she can't stomach. She hates them. So, especially Supergirl. She hates Supergirl.
Really? I cried a couple times.
That's the one she hates the most. She can't stand that show. So, she actually calls her Super Bitch.
I like that.
So, yeah, I know you do. I do too.
I should hope so.
Yeah, me too. But yeah, so what I tend to do is Dad tends to sleep late on Saturdays. So I'll DVR all the shows as they air, and then Saturday morning is my superhero morning. And I'll get up and I'll watch like 4 hours of superhero shows. And I'll go through them all.
Just like when we were kids, like superhero, like Saturday morning cartoon kind of thing.
Dude, I miss Saturday morning cartoons like crazy. And for a long time, before I met Deb, on Saturday mornings, that's how I spent my mornings. I'd pick one of the DC animated movies and watch one. And that's even if I'd already seen it, I'd pick one and watch it. And that's how I spent my Saturday mornings.
What giant bowl of cereal did you eat? Like, was it Lucky Charms or Frosted Flakes? What was your cereal? Just like,
you mean as an adult or as a kid?
Salad bowl. As an adult.
Nothing, because I tend to not eat breakfast, so generally it was a cup of coffee.
Oh, do you get nauseous when you eating breakfast and things?
No, I just don't eat breakfast generally.
I sometimes get nauseous if I'm trying to, like, especially if it's too early. Like, I just can't force myself to eat. I have to have coffee and then, like, sit on my stomach because I kind of will wake up sometimes queasy, especially if I have a fucking migraine. So eating a bowl of cereal was never, like, fun for me unless it was, like, a Saturday morning and I happen to not feel like shit.
Right. Well, as a kid, it was always something like Rice Krispies because my mom was one of those moms that I wasn't allowed to have the sugary cereals unless it was the summertime. Like, that was my summer vacation treat. So during the school year, I wasn't allowed to have anything like crazy bad, but it was probably Corn Pops as a kid. That or Apple Jacks. It was probably it.
God, I haven't had Apple Jacks in years. My mom was the same way with Rice Krispies. I would have Rice Krispies, but I would like get like a small like teaspoon of sugar.
Well, see, that's the thing. I was allowed to put as much sugar into it as I wanted. No, I never did it crazy because I was never into that anyway, but I was allowed to put enough in there. It was like Rice Krispies, Cheerios, Kix was the thing I loved as a kid.
I've never had Kix.
It's not good now. Like, I had it as an adult and it doesn't hold up. And then the other one was, I was the only, like, quote unquote sugary cereal I was allowed was Honey Nut Cheerios because it was still the Cheerio.
Those taste good no matter what. Anyways, fuck, how the hell did we get to cereal?
Well, because we were talking about Saturday morning cartoons.
That's true. Well, we need to get back to...
Right, but those animated movies, to my point, was like, you know, and so now I watch those shows. I watch Supergirl and Flash and all this. But the Jonah Hex, that's how we got there on Legends, was having not seen the movie was well done. And actually, didn't they take a shot at Jonah Hex in Deadpool too? I think they take a shot at Jonah Hex.
I don't remember. I may have missed it from laughing so fucking hard, but I may have missed it.
It's a brief thing, but I think he takes a shot at Jonah Hex.
I need to see that when it comes out on DVD. I'm gonna get it.
I already ordered.
I need to rewatch that.
I already pre-ordered the Deadpool 1 and 2 4K dual pack. So
yeah, I don't fuck with the 4K shit. It took a lot for me to get the DVDs.
Well, you could technically do Blu-ray because you have a PlayStation 3.
Yeah, but that's a whole like I literally only have one Blu-ray, and it's actually Batman, the Tim Burton Batman.
Okay, which is the worst one to have. Well, not the worst one, but
no, it's because it came with. I got Lego Batman, and it came with the Blu-ray of '89 Batman. But
which, by the way, Lego Batman 3 is the best of those Lego Batman movies.
Which one?
Lego 3 or Batman 3.
I thought it was the weakest one. I like the second one, where you play as the superheroes and the villains running around Gotham.
Well, you do that with 3. You can play as a bunch of them.
No, but you don't run around the city.
No,
you fly. You go to different. To be fair, like I was excited and I bought it and I played through the whole campaign, but I have not gone through all the free play bullshit. I should. I think I need to restart it because I think my hard drive was whacked when I had a problem with PS3. It was not starting. It would start up and it would give me a screen saying unable to start, blah 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 blah, and then I called up like PlayStation and talked to them and they said, we'll send it in. It'll cost $80 to send out, and then we'll clean it for you and we'll fix it. And I said, well, I have all of my save stuff on here. Is it going to be wiped? He said, no, you still have all your movies and everything that you have, all your game settings, and then like it just deleted everything. So they fucking lied to me.
I'll do you one better. My video card, I had a PlayStation 3 that was backwards compatible. Completely backwards compatible. Played the 3, the 2, and the 1. Played them all. And my video card died.
Oh.
And I took it to a couple places to get it fixed. I talked to Sony, and it was cheaper for me to buy a new PlayStation 3 than it was to get it fixed.
It's so frustrating.
It is incredibly frustrating.
I keep talking to Steph about like eventually I'll get a PS4, but like
dude,
I don't want to.
They're doing a limited edition blue PlayStation with the four characters across the top: the circle, the X, the square, the triangle. Special limited edition comes out in a couple months.
Yeah, but I can't. I mean, I'm gonna be able to get it like I'll be able to afford a PS4 when like a PS7 is coming out.
Well, yeah. They did not. Oh, by the way, E3 did happen last week. They did not announce the PlayStation 5. So good news there, because the rumor was they were going to announce PlayStation 5 at E3, and they did not do that. So good news there.
I just don't want to sell my PS3 and all my games in order to get a fucking PS4 and have like 1 or 2 games.
You should never sell your old systems. I've learned that the hard way. Never, ever, ever, ever sell your old systems.
But at the same time, I also know that eventually, like, Steph will move out here, we'll live together, and then she's got I think she's got an Xbox One. So I won't have to get
you jump ship on me, our friendship's over. I'm just saying.
I'm just saying that I'm going to go for the cheaper fucking alternative. I mean, I'm not an Xbox guy, but I've always been a PlayStation guy. But if it's here, I'm not going to fucking.
Well, yeah. Well, and Steph suggested that you and I do a video game episode, and we should someday, but because I can't play Xbox.
Because of the controller?
Yes, because of the way the controller is laid out, I cannot play an Xbox comfortably. Whereas I can play any of the PlayStation systems. And I was a little scared when they put out the 4 because they were changing the controller layout, and it ultimately didn't make a difference. But it was frightening for a minute. And honestly, I haven't been able to play a Nintendo system before the Switch since the GameCube.
All right, we're getting ahead of ourselves.
But yeah, so
we should.
Yeah, where do we go?
We've already more or less talked about Superman. We need to talk about. We should just talk about the DCU because I think the Nolan shit is a whole other conversation.
Well, let me ask you a quick question. Because since we did put out our Deadpool episode today, and yes, I know people aren't listening to this today, but they've, assumably, if that's a word, listen to
assumingly.
There you go. I'll go with that one. Listen to the Deadpool episode since, before they listen to this. We talk about the bonus episode where Ryan Reynolds shows up and blows or Deadpool technically shows up
and shoots Ryan Reynolds in the face when he's reading Green Lantern.
Right.
Yeah?
So, and I don't think we're going to spend a lot of time, but talk about that movie for a minute. Because honestly, I didn't think it was as bad as people say it is. Am I going to sit here and tell you it's a great movie? No, not by a long shot. But it's not a piece of shit. I've seen worse movies. I saw a worse movie last night. I watched Sucker Punch. It's not terrible.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. I've seen far worse comic book adaptations than Green Lantern. I don't understand the visceral reaction that Green Lantern got.
I think it's because of the CGI with the suit. You were getting there, sorry.
The suit was a little much. But at the same time, I also felt like it worked with the comic, which is the ring does give him the suit. If I remember my lore. I don't think he puts on a suit and then has the ring.
The ring not projects, but it somehow encompasses him in a suit. Yeah.
So I actually thought it was pretty common. I mean, I thought Mark Strong was a great Sinestro. Yeah. I thought it did a great job. I mean, was it a perfect movie? No. I thought Peter Skarsgård as Hector Hammond, I think, the villain, the guy who slowly deforms into the wheelchair.
Yeah.
I thought that was a bit much. I think if you had replaced him with Sinestro and had Sinestro be the main villain, halfway through, it would have been a little bit predictable. Been like, oh, the mentor becomes the main villain,
right?
Ra's al Ghul or fucking whoever, or Iron Man or whoever. I think it would have been predictable. But I think Mark Strong is a better actor as a villain than Peter Sarsgaard as a villain. I think Peter Sarsgaard is a very good actor, but I don't think him. I don't know. And also, there was also Galactus. No, it wasn't Galactus.
Galactus was Fantastic Four.
Silver Surfer, yeah. Who was the fucking villain of Green Lantern?
It was the guy you were talking about, the guy in the wheelchair. That's all it was.
No, but he was talking to some other fucking alien thing. There was this giant thing that Green Lantern put him into the sun.
Yeah, I don't remember. I don't know.
So
while you're looking it up,
goes with what I'm talking about.
I will tell you my only thoughts about what was the wrong choice for that movie, and I'm gonna be full disclosure. This is really not my opinion; it's Ralph's opinion, I think, but I agree with it, and that's they should have not done Hal Jordan. Because by the time this movie came out, they had switched to the African-American guy whose name escapes me right now.
Jon Stewart,
thank you. And so they should have gone that route. Like in Idris Elba or somebody. I don't think Idris was who he is now, but someone of that, you know what I mean? That's what they should have done. Instead of Ryan Reynolds as Hal Jordan.
Well, all right. So first off, the big bad of Green Lantern was Parallax, and I had completely fucking blanked on that. That's my point. Is that the movie was fine, but it was also kind of forgettable.
Right.
I agree, and this is the rumor because there's still more. DC is more or less in development, trying to make a Green Lantern Corps movie.
Which
Green Lantern Corps.
I am excited about if they do it right. You know what I mean? I am.
What I've heard is that it's going to be Lethal Weapon in space.
I heard that too.
Presumably, Jon Stewart is going to be the mentor. So you get the black Green Lantern character that we all now more have grown to love, and when we think Green Lantern, we think Jon Stewart.
Right.
And then you get the young, cocky, kind of devil may care kind of attitude. Riggs type character of Hal Jordan.
But in the comic book lore, Hal Jordan comes before Jon Stewart, does he not?
I think so, but I think they're going to flip it so it'll be older, seasoned black guy and young.
No, I get it, the Lethal Weapon in space, but it just to me, that's the wrong way to do it.
Honestly, that's the big thing. That's the big theme of this.
Well, could you do a reverse Lethal Weapon? Old seasoned white guy, young cocky black guy, like do the Hal Jordan teaches Jon Stewart.
I mean, you could, but I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with what the fuck is DC thinking. Like, they're just so all over the place.
Yeah, I'll say for Green Lantern, like in Justice League, you got like 10 seconds of Green Lantern when they do the flashback on Steppenwolf.
And it wasn't even the Green Lantern we know. It was whoever the fuck it was.
Right. That's not the point. You're right. But the point is that
it showed a lantern.
It showed a lantern, and it showed a good lantern. Like the graphics look good. Because at one point he projects out like a giant mallet and smacks. I don't think it was Steppenwolf. I think it was a couple of the oh fuck, what those the what?
Parademons.
Yeah, the parademons. Thank you. But and then he gets killed and the ring flies off. But and there were people that thought that that's how you were going to get to Hal Jordan. I've heard people talk about that, which wouldn't fit because it was like years before, modern day. But anyway, the point being is that it looked good. It looked better than the graphics they used for the Ryan Reynolds one. And
I agree with that.
So it's proof that
I think DC can make a good Green Lantern
exactly,
movie, but I think
exactly, right.
It depends on who they cast, and it depends on who directs, and it depends on what story they're going to make. I think Sinestro's got to be the villain. They would be fools to. And honestly, the rumor, the fan casting that I keep seeing is shit. I'm blanking on his fucking name, but I got a movie of his somewhere.
For Sinestro or Green Lantern?
For Sinestro. It is the guy who played Dracula in Dracula Untold, Luke Evans.
Okay.
This guy.
I don't know him, but that's okay. I see him, but I don't know him.
He played Gaston in the Beauty and the Beast remake.
I didn't see it. Deb saw, but I didn't see it.
He looks enough already like he could, like he's already got the thin mustache, just put some purple fucking paint on him, put him in yellow, and he would look the role for a Sinestro.
So let me ask you this. If they do the idea you were talking about, who would you cast for Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan?
If I was going to connect it to if this was a standalone, I would go Idris Elba as Jon Stewart.
That's what I was thinking too.
Because Idris Elba's now free because he's no longer playing Heimdall. He is the big fan cast choice to play Jon Stewart. I really, honestly, if he wasn't already in Wonder Woman, I would have gone Chris Pine for Hal Jordan.
That's a good call.
But I see from all the, like, I've seen clips of Injustice too, and he looks a lot like Armie Hammer.
Okay. But Armie Hammer's a bit old from what you're describing they want to do, isn't he?
I'm sorry?
For what you're describing they want to do, the story they want to do, isn't Armie Hammer a little too old?
No, he could be in his 30s. I mean, he doesn't have to be a kid.
Okay.
Idris Elba's like in his late 40s, early 50s.
Yeah.
So he could still be the mentor. He's got 20 years on, you just have to be a 30-year-old.
Okay, that's fair.
But if you're connecting it to the DCEU, I would have the guy who plays the general or whatever in Man of Steel as Jon Stewart.
Right, but it goes to the same point you made about Chris Pine. You can't do that.
Well, you just changed the name. I mean, that's the thing. I think he'd be a better Martian Manhunter.
Yes.
But
yes, I agree.
But I think, that was my only thing is I'm looking at that actor and he's so underrated. And I'm blanking on his fucking name. Every time I see him, I'm always like, this guy's so good. He has authority in his voice, and that's something that I think Jon Stewart needs to have. Jon Stewart had, especially with the voice actor who plays him, which is actually I'm blanking on his fucking name, but he's the guy who plays Marvin or Marv in Pulp Fiction, the guy who gets his head blown off in the car.
Phil Lamar. Yeah.
Phil Lamar. So thank you. God, that helped. Phil Lamar, he doesn't sound like that, but he lowers his voice like this. I'm Green Lantern. Like he does that. And that's Jon Stewart Green Lantern's supposed to have that authority. Not so much like James Earl Jones, not that booming, but like, and then, Hal Jordan is supposed to be young, cocky, Ryan Reynolds, Chris Pine. I could also see Zachary Quinto as a young Hal Jordan. The guy who played Spock.
I guess. I don't agree, but
I think because Steph has talked about him on Heroes. I never saw Heroes, but it sounds like he could be intense because
he is.
Because the role of Spock, he's very reserved. So, but
he's intense too. He's reserved, intense simultaneously. I hate to say that, but that's how I view him.
But I've also seen him on American Horror Story, and he exhibits more cockiness than he does in his other stuff.
So I have two thoughts about who could be
Hal or John.
John. I'm still thinking about Hal, but John. What about because he's supposed to be the older grizzled guy, right? So what about a Dennis Haysbert?
Oldish.
Oh, oldish. Okay, but compared to
that would be good. That'd be good actually.
Or Mekhi Phifer.
Pfeiffer.
Yeah, I think it'd be a good Jon Stewart.
I would never have plucked it out of thin air. That's
well, I'm not going to lie to you and say put him out of thin air. I did a Google search for African American actors, and there's a list of them with pictures, and I'm looking at these guys, and those are the guys that jumped out at me. I was looking at these pictures, and I'm thinking of Jon Stewart as I know him, and those are two guys that kind of fit the mold, if you will.
I like the Dennis Haysbert one. That's really that's a good pull. I'll tell you this though, if they reverse it, what?
No, go ahead. Finish your thought because I think we're on the same page. I have a feeling we're on the same page. Go for
it. If they reverse it, and it's Hal Jordan is the mentor,
yeah,
and then you get a young black actor, young Jon Stewart. In his youth and his cockiness, I could actually. I'm not proud to admit this, but I could see Tom Cruise actually pulling off a good Hal Jordan.
Yeah, I think that's possible. I hadn't really thought about that yet. I was still thinking about how if you're reversing the role, I have two ideas for the Jon Stewart. Absolutely
okay.
got. And I mean, look, they've both been used to a degree, but Donald Glover or Michael B. Jordan, easy. Maybe more Donald Glover, honestly, but either one could do it.
I could see Donald Glover more than Michael B. Jordan because I just can't look at Michael B. Jordan not playing Killmonger.
Right.
And it's funny you say that because the rumor is that for a sequel to Black Panther, Donald Glover might be the villain.
For what movie?
Black Panther 2.
Yeah, but he's already in the Spider-Man universe.
But he's not. I mean, they could still use that. I mean, I don't know. They could still use him as a villain.
I guess, yeah.
He can still play the same character. They've done that when they've had actors play more than one role. I don't agree with it. That kind of shit fucking pisses me off.
Right, we've both said that before.
I mean, if they're already going to, shit. There was there's like a little one that no one ever caught, which is the actor Martin Starr, who's in some of the Seth Rogen comedies. And I mean, did you see Knocked Up?
Yeah, but once and a long time ago, so I really don't remember much about it.
He's the friend who has a bet and he grows his beard out and grows his hair out long.
Yeah, no.
Okay. He was also on the show Freaks and Geeks.
I never saw it. I know of it, but I never saw it.
Okay, so he plays the teacher in Spider-Man: Homecoming.
Wait, really? Because that's Guilfoyle from Silicon Valley. That's how I know him.
Fine. I don't watch Silicon Valley.
Oh, you should. It's fucking funny as hell.
So that actor was in The Incredible Hulk very briefly.
As what?
He plays a computer technician that Edward Norton's Bruce Banner bribes with pizza. Remember, he bribes Lou Ferrigno, the security guard.
Yes.
He goes into the university to get the information, and then the camera pans, and you see a nerd eating a slice of pizza, be like, "Thanks for the pizza," that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Same actor, different role. So what he's playing in The Incredible Hulk is they release this later. He's playing Amadeus Cho, who is a comic book character. He's a comic book character. He's sort of integral, but he is the nephew or son of the Korean scientist who Ultron sort of kidnaps and says, "You need to make me a body." So my point is they take different actors and put them in different roles in the same universe. So them taking, their explanation would be like, well, there's two guys who look just like Donald Glover in New York City.
That's fair.
Go
ahead.
But him plucking him in and putting him in the DC universe, I don't think DC would be able to afford Donald Glover. I think Disney has got him by the balls. Right now.
I do too. So I'm looking over. I'm sticking with where we're reversing the mentor-mentee role, and I'm looking over a couple actors. There's a couple here I think could play Hal Jordan, and I'd like your feedback. I'm going to give you all of them because I'd like to hear your comments on all of them, honestly. So the first one that jumps out at me, I think Clooney's possible, depending on how old you want Hal Jordan to be. I don't think he'll do it. No, granted, I don't think all these people are going to do it, but I'm saying that they could.
I think the first thing he would say is be like, "I was already Batman and that didn't work out, so no."
Probably, yeah.
Could he be a good Hal Jordan? Yeah, he actually could be a really good Hal Jordan. He's got the cockiness. He's got the head bobble, kind of like, what are you going to do?
Right.
You need to listen to me. Like, hey, he could do it. I don't know if I could see George Clooney winning a fight. That's the thing.
Well, it depends on how intense they'd make the Hal Jordan character. Like, if he's purely just like a mentor, then yeah. But if he's going to do more action, then I agree with you. And that leads me to my next guy, actually, which I don't think will ever happen because, much like Donald Glover, I think they got him by the balls, but Bradley Cooper.
Honestly, Bradley Cooper would have been a perfect Hal Jordan.
Yep. But as Rocket, I think they've got him by the balls.
Yeah, they're not letting him go. Although to be fair, there was a lot of people who didn't even know that Bradley Cooper was playing Rocket. Like
true,
they had
true.
Like I know people, they're like, I wonder who plays Rocket. I'm like, Bradley Cooper. They're like, really? I'm like, yeah. It doesn't sound like him. Well, that's because he's doing a Joe Pesci impression, but that's beside the point.
Let's see. The other Josh Duhamel. Or Dumo, I don't know how you say his last name exactly. But he was in.
I thought it was Dumball, but
whatever. Yeah.
I don't really know enough of his filmography to have an opinion of him. I don't know. I don't have an opinion on that one.
Well, I only have three more, but I will say real quick, and I don't know why this guy came up, but if they're sticking with the original line, the original plan of the Jon Stewart being the mentor, Shamar Moore. From Criminal Minds and now SWAT would be a good Jon Stewart if he's going to be the mentor role.
I could see that.
But getting back,
I'm just grateful. It's not going to be fucking Morgan Freeman again. I'm sick and tired of seeing Morgan Freeman as a mentor again.
Well, I don't think he's going to get it for a while after the allegations. I think he's going to be off for a while.
I think that sort of blew over. I don't. No one's talking about that right anymore. Well, everyone's talking about Chris Hardwick. Right now.
Yeah, which if it's true, it kills me because I love Hardwick. John Hamm as Jon Stewart.
Ooh, that'd be good. I think John Hamm would just be great in a superhero movie.
Well, Kevin Smith for years wanted him to be Batman before Affleck got cast as Batman. He wanted John Hamm.
Josh Brolin was also a possibility.
Josh Brolin's a possibility for everything these days.
No, but Josh Brolin would have been a better Dark Knight Batman, a Dark Knight Returns Batman than. I mean, John Hamm would be a good Batman. I still like Ben Affleck the most.
No, he did a good job, but I'm just saying that was something that I know Kevin was pushing for prior to Affleck getting the job.
You know, Michael Keaton actually could have done a good job.
Totally.
No, but Michael Keaton as the older Hal Jordan.
We're not. Oh, well, maybe. I don't think he's got the right facial structure, at least in my opinion. Like, I'm looking at that, too. So I got two more, and I'm going to stop. But Mark Wahlberg?
No.
No, you don't think so?
Just no.
Okay.
What? No.
What? No.
You're Green Lantern. Hey, buddy, how are you? You're Green Lantern? So
the last one, and this might actually save this guy from what he went through with... Actually, there's two more, sorry. But it made sense what he went through with a previous movie, Eric Bana.
I could see Eric Bana. Actually, yeah, that's not a bad choice. He needs to redeem himself. He hasn't really done anything.
That's what I'm saying, yeah. And then the last one that jumps out at me that could be from this list I'm looking at is Nathan Fillion.
Oh, shit, that'd be good. But if Nathan Fillion can, like, fucking lose some weight and put some muscle, that'd be pretty good.
Yeah, so those are all possible Hal Jordans. All right, well, I think we've beat the Green Lantern thing to the death. You mentioned last week, or not last week, but on the last episode, that there was some developments with Batman, and you told me about them off air, but I think we should share them with the audience. So what's going on?
Yeah, the rumor. Well, these are all rumors because everything is fucking rumors.
Yeah.
What they decided is that the new standalone Batman movie that's going to be made is going to go younger. So it's going to be a standalone Batman separate origin story similar to Batman Begins.
Like year one?
Like Batman Year One.
Okay.
So which means Ben Affleck can't obviously do that because he's playing an older grizzled Batman, which I prefer. I prefer to see this aged, world-weary Batman who sort of redeems himself. He gets bloodthirsty in Batman vs Superman, and then he tones down a little bit.
Would you, if they did Dark Knight Returns, would you cast Affleck for that?
I'm torn, honestly, because I would cast Affleck 100% as for Dark Knight Returns, because essentially he's already playing the Frank Miller Batman.
Right, but here's
the costume.
See, like, I'm going to jump off for a second, but remember the cartoons, and we've referenced them before. There was a part 1, part 2 cartoon. And they didn't do Conroy. They did RoboCop, whose name escapes me right now.
Peter something.
Yeah. And I mean, he did a fine job. Like, I don't think he did a bad job, but why not do Conroy, especially for that role?
I think Kevin Conroy, even when he sounds angry, and he could be very intimidating, didn't have the
grizzled,
the gruffness. He didn't sound old enough, which is ironic because he does a good older Batman in Batman Beyond.
Right.
There's something unique about RoboCop's voice as Batman, where it just fit perfectly for that animated movie. But I agree, Kevin Conroy for me is what I hear when I think Batman. I think,
Now there is a guy, and I'll have to look him up, that's started taking the mantle over for Conroy, who does a really good job, and I'll look him up. But you talk about what?
Well, there's the guy who did Under the Red Hood, Bruce Greenwood. I thought he did a really good job.
He did okay, but that's not who I was thinking of. It's a younger guy.
You're probably thinking of Jason O'Mara.
Yes, that's him. And I do like his take on Batman. It's not Kevin Conroy, but it's pretty fucking good.
I always preferred Kevin Conroy because we grew up with Kevin Conroy.
Well, sure, of course, but if someone's going to take it over, or if Conroy's going to stop doing it, Jason O'Mara is a pretty good takeover.
Yeah, I still prefer Bruce Greenwood, but Jason O'Mara is really good as well. But they don't. For me, both of them don't change their voice like Kevin Conroy did, which was
no,
hi, for Bruce Wayne, he's like, hi, I'm up here, I'm Bruce Wayne, and then I'm Batman.
Right? He absolutely
made a very conscientious decision, and I appreciate that. But I will say this: if they're doing a Dark Knight Returns, Ben Affleck, I think would be a very good choice. If they were going to do a Batman Beyond live adaptation, Michael Keaton as an older Batman.
I agree.
With the cane and everything, I think that would be pure brilliance.
Rumor has it he may appear, if not this upcoming season, but the next season on Legends. It may not be a permanent role, but he may make an appearance. Not the old Batman, but Batman Beyond. So what's the... I forget who's because it's not Bruce Wayne, obviously. It's not Damian Wayne. It's
Terry McGinnis.
That's it. Thank you. Yeah. There's a talk that there may be like an episode or maybe two, because Jonah Hex has been the same way. There's been 1 or 2 episodes, but he's not like a regular. Now, I know that Constantine is going to be a regular this upcoming season, so I'll be curious how they do that. But
they're bringing the guy who's been playing the Constantine role in Arrow.
Yes, and he did the voice on the animated Justice League Dark as well.
Dude, he's killing it. He's a really good Constantine. He really is.
I liked Keanu Reeves' Constantine. Like, I did like that movie. I know a lot of people didn't like it. I'm not saying it's fantastic, but I liked it. But this guy deserves a movie. They need to give him a movie. They won't, because it's just the way they... Right. It's just the way they do things. But if they're going to let him constantly play the role, no pun intended, in TV, then yeah, fine. Let him keep having it, because he's really, really doing a good job, and I like it. And I'm excited that he's going to be a regular character on this upcoming season.
So the Batman news is that they're going to basically drop Batfleck, and they're going to go Younger and Batman Begins, year 1 type of shit. Which, I mean, Batman Begins was great, but we already kind of got the origin story. Do we need to see him fighting?
We've gotten the origin story in every Batman movie ever made.
Yeah, but I mean, I am curious to see, him fighting crime, like maybe a year or 2, where he's still where he's not Batman, he's still sort of Batboy-ish.
That's what I like about Gotham. Gotham's like that, the show.
Yeah, but Gotham, even still, like, I'm still looking at him like he's too fucking young. He still looks 15.
Well, this next season, as I understand it, is the last season of Gotham, and by the end of it, you're going to get full-fledged Batman. But I get your point, and they've been doing a lot of like age jumps. Like Ivy, when the show started, was 10, and now she's 22 because she got some kind of like metamorphosis thing going on, and she jumped ages.
I didn't even get past the second season, and I'm still slowly working through it.
But the point is, I agree, but like I'm with Kevin. Kevin Smith says this all the time. I'm tired of origins. Like, that's one of the biggest disappointments for me in Batman versus Superman. They didn't need to do an origin there. They could have skipped that origin story, and it would have been fine.
Well, they did all that shit for Martha.
No, I get that, but there's another way to do it. You could have had him just at the grave being sad and zoom in on the name or something like that. Like, there's a way to express to Martha without doing the fucking origin in Crime Alley and all that bullshit.
I agree. I definitely agree. I also think they put that scene in because they were really heavily considering doing the Flashpoint. So they wanted to show Martha and Thomas Wayne, get them cast, so that if they did do the Flashpoint movie, we would be familiar with that.
Which, if they do a Flashpoint movie, would be awesome, because I love that Flashpoint animated. That's an amazing animated movie. I love that movie.
Yeah. And fucking Negan as Thomas Wayne is a fucking great idea.
Yeah.
I mean, if they do not go Jeffrey Dean Morgan and recast with someone else, that's when I'm like, why the fuck would they just give up? Like, it was such a good idea. I did think it was a little weird seeing two fucking people on Walking Dead that their roles hate each other being a couple, because you just can't help but think, like, they try to kill each other all the time on Walking Dead. What the fuck is this?
Well, but that's for people who watch Walking Dead, which is a lot of people, but I've never watched it, so I would have never made that connection in a million years.
Oh, yeah. So fucking Lauren Cohen is like part of the good guys, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan is like the bad guy of this current season.
Have you heard Kevin's Negan?
Yeah. Rick. Whoa. Let me tell you about this.
Right. Yeah.
That's basically his impression.
But it's rather funny to hear. And having not watched the show, I don't know how spot on or how far off it is, but it's still funny to listen to. It's
exaggerated but he does stretch it out, but it's not as much as Kevin is doing, but it's very much like, well. Rick, you son of a bitch. You drive me crazy. Like it's that kind of like
right,
it's
but
like
it almost sounds Pacino-esque.
It's sort of Pacino and Walken kind of combined.
Yeah, there you go. That's a good way to put it.
It's like, well, you son of a bitch. I mean, Walken is wow, it's crazy, and then like you get Pacino is down here, and then yeah, it's sort of a combination of the two, but
it's just odd.
Kevin stretches it out where it's like you go 10 seconds without saying anything. Yeah. He's like, you son of a bitch.
Right.
And it's kind of like a Family Guy like segment that just stretches two things. Right. It's like, all right, we fucking get it, Kevin. Jesus.
But what we don't need is another origin, man. I don't want another origin. I don't.
We need origins for movies that have not done an origin story. But we don't need to see another Spider-Man. We don't need to see another origin for Batman. I mean, fuck, can you leave Thomas and Martha alone? How many times are we going to see them gunned down?
I think if you do Green Lantern, like we talked about earlier, you do need a bit of an origin there, but not crazy
You do,
origin.
because people forgot about the other fucking origin for Green Lantern. So,
yeah, so, I mean, that kind of movie, you need one. I think to a degree, if they do ultimately make this Flash movie, are they still making that movie with Ezra Miller?
Allegedly, it's going to just... Well, let me look up online. But allegedly, it's going to be called Flashpoint. Sorry. So this is what's coming out. Okay, this is the news of what's the upcoming films.
Well, while you're pulling it up real quick, let me ask you: if they do a Flash movie, do you need an origin there? I think you do.
I think a small flashback would be fine. 1 30-second flashback would be fine.
Yeah.
Because they didn't show that in Justice League, so I think they could do a 30-second flashback.
Flash
Black.
Pun
intended. No, not Flash Black. I fucked up.
I know.
But a flashback, where because they barely covered it in Justice League. They alluded like, oh, well, I was hit by lightning, and that's all they say.
I know when they talk about his father killing his mother, they briefly touch on that too.
Very briefly.
Yeah.
Like it's so brief that you forget about it.
I liked Billy Crudup as the dad, by the way. I thought that was a good casting.
Yeah, he looks like he could be his dad. That's the thing is I'm big on actors that are playing parents of characters, as well as if there's going to be a child version of the character as well as the grown-up version. Like, I think the kid who plays Bruce Wayne in Gotham kind of looks like a young Ben Affleck.
Yeah, I could see that. They casted him long before they casted Affleck, but yeah, I could see that.
Well, you see what I'm saying.
I do.
Okay, so this is the upcoming movie. So Aquaman. And allegedly we're supposed to be getting some trailer any day now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I got to be honest with you. I'm not excited. I'm not excited for that movie. Like, I'm not.
I am excited. Here's the thing. Like, Aquaman was one of the few cool things of Justice League, but I still think he was useless in the fucking movie.
I not only do I think he was useless, I don't think it was that cool, honestly.
He got very annoying very quickly, but I did laugh a couple times at some of his lines.
The best
but he very much became like...
Go ahead, finish your point.
The best line... I mean, like, the whole, like, you're beautiful kind of thing, where he's got the fucking lasso of truth wrapped around, like, it's wrapped around his leg or something.
That's the best part of his role in the whole movie, is when he's sitting there sitting on the lasso.
but he got very annoying very quickly for me. It
Yep.
was just like, my man, woohoo, and very surfer dude, and like, my bro, you're my homie, and that kind of shit. We talked briefly, I don't know if it was in the episode or off episode, what I would have done a little bit differently. First thing I would have done, have Jason Momoa play Lobo, not fucking Aquaman.
He'd be a much better Lobo. I agree.
He would kill it as Lobo. If it was the year 1997, I would have cast Danny Trejo as Lobo.
Yeah.
But Jason Momoa literally looks like Lobo. When Batman v Superman was coming out, and I saw promo of Momoa as Aquaman, I was like, okay, it kind of makes sense a little bit that like the Atlanteans would kind of look a little Polynesian or Hawaiian. They look sort of nomadic in their own way with a long kind of hair and everything. The tribal tattoos. It was very reminiscent of Moana for me.
Right, but wait, real quick. Here's the difference. And here's what I think. I think that's where you put The Rock. That's where you put Dwayne Johnson. He's got the actual tribal tattoo. Momoa's were either painted on or CGI'd on or whatever. But The Rock is Samoan.
Well, Momoa is Hawaiian. I mean, there's Polynesian, Samoan. They're not the same. They're very similar.
Right.
I would also cast The Rock as Lobo as well. He would kill the role as well. Not as much as Jason Momoa.
He could have also been Cyborg. I mean, the guy who did Cyborg did a really good job, but he could have been Cyborg.
He didn't. He was not used enough, and they didn't give him enough screen time.
I agree.
But at the same time, now I'm like, I don't really necessarily need to see a Cyborg movie. My whole thing is they don't. What they need to do with Cyborg is they just need to put him in they need to make a Teen Titans movie and just put him in that. Establish a young Robin.
Show.
What?
They are making a show.
Well, they should put him in the show. They shouldn't force a Cyborg movie on us.
I think they are. I'm pretty certain they're gonna. I'll look, but I'm pretty certain there's gonna be Cyborg in that show.
Well, they should cast fucking whatever his name was, whoever played him, Ray Stone, I think.
Well, to that effect, Grant Gustin should have been the Flash in the movie.
100% agree, but they're not going to listen to us.
They're not going to listen to their own people. From what I understand, their own people said that.
Yeah. So Aquaman, that's coming out December 21st. So another 6 months from now.
Yeah, it's one I probably won't be seeing.
I mean, I saw they've released a couple photos, and fucking Patrick Wilson is playing Orm, Ocean Master, the half brother of Aquaman. That sounds interesting. We're also going to get Black Manta. That's going to be cool because Black Manta's got this really huge fucking helmet, and I saw a photo of it, and the helmet's there. So they're going to have this ridiculously fucking huge helmet. Nicole Kidman is going to be in it as his mother. Dolph Lundgren. I didn't know about this. Dolph Lundgren's going to be in this? Really? Willem Dafoe.
What's
Tamara Morrison, who played Django. Who? What?
What's Lundgren playing? What's he doing?
He's playing the villain King Nereus. I don't know. I don't know a whole lot of Aquaman's villains. But Tamara Morrison is going to play Aquaman's father, Tom Curry. So Tamara Morrison was Jango Fett. See, that works for me because he, they need to bring him back for a Boba Fett movie. He needs to. That's what will happen. Maybe
they are doing the Boba Fett movie.
But I'm saying if they're doing a young Boba Fett movie, then I think they should go older. I think they should have an older Boba Fett and have Tamara Morrison come back.
Yeah, I agree, but we'll save that for a Star Wars spin-off movie or episode.
Okay,
go
ahead.
No, I was going to say, I looked up the Titans thing, and there's a couple people that are casted that don't have character names, so it doesn't say what they're playing, but there's no mention of Cyborg, so I guess he's not going to be on the show.
Yeah, if they did that right, they could do it really good. After Aquaman is Shazam. So, Dwayne Johnson is going to play Black Adam. So I don't think he's going to be in Shazam. I think they're going to make his own separate movie. Yeah, he's not going to be in Shazam. He's going to be in his own solo movie. Zachary Levi. Is it Levi or Levi? Do you know?
I think it's Levi.
Levi is going to play the muscled up Shazam, and then the kid is going to be played by.
It's one of the Stranger Things kids, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think he was from. I think he was one of the kids from It as well, actually.
That's possible. Yeah, I didn't see Stranger Things. I haven't watched that yet, but
if you didn't like the Goonies, do you like Stephen King?
I like Shawshank, but that's not.
It's basically Stranger Things is if you took the Goonies and Stephen King and made a show inspired by both.
No, I kind of want to see it. Like, it's not that I don't want to see it. It's just I'm watching so many other things that it's hard to.
It's an amazing show, but if you're not fond of either, you're not going to like it.
Okay.
Or maybe it'll make you be more interested.
Maybe.
So Mark Strong, who we talked about earlier, who was Sinestro, is going to play Dr. Thaddeus Savannah. He's going to be the villain of Shazam.
So does that automatically disqualify him as possibly being Sinestro again?
I think the fact that Ryan Reynolds is not going to be Green Lantern disqualifies it. I think if they're going to do a Sinestro, they should do the guy I talked about earlier.
Okay, so I know we kind of beat the Green Lantern thing to death a little bit, but let me just ask you a very quick question. If they do this lethal weapon in space thing that you're talking about, and let's just say with our theory that they do the older Hal Jordan and younger Jon Stewart, let's say they kill Hal Jordan at some point during that movie to like transition to fully to Jon Stewart. Would you recast Ryan Reynolds to kind of just fade him out? Do you know what I'm saying? And I don't even know if he would do it. Yeah, to segue it.
I don't think Ryan Reynolds could get paid enough for him to come back and do it.
Well, yeah, but it's not like Marvel, so I don't know if he's so much by the balls like some of the other people we've talked about that Disney has. But I get your point, and I'm not saying you're wrong, but I'm just wondering because that might be a way for him to close the door on that the right way. I mean, well, I guess the right way was him blowing his own brains out. It's Deadpool, but you know what I'm saying, though. Like, get out of that story and kind of close the door or whatever.
I think if Hal Jordan was just a cameo in the beginning, similar to how Tamara Morrison was as the purple guy in the beginning of the Green Lantern one, the one who gives Ryan Reynolds the ring.
Yeah.
If they did that, so Ryan Reynolds just had a very 5-minute role, and it was sort of like a secret, I think he would do it as long as he didn't have to promote it.
Right.
So he just did this one little 5-minute cameo.
Yeah.
But then that means the whole movie would be less about the dynamic between Hal and John. It would just be John. Which
I'm kind of okay with. I don't really and again, I don't want to. We already kind of beat it to death, but I really don't want a lethal weapon in space. I want a Jon Stewart Green Lantern movie, and let's just move on.
I'm at this point, I don't even know. I don't care. I need to know a little bit more what the fuck they're planning on doing before I actually give a shit. Is how I'm looking at it.
That's fair. Anyway, continue with what you're saying.
Wonder Woman 84.
I'm excited.
I'm excited, but I'm not fond of the title. It's hard for me to say Wonder Woman 1984. It doesn't flow well for me.
Well, could that be just a temporary title, or is that definitively the title?
That's the title. That's the title.
Yeah. All right. I'm curious how they're going to bring Chris Pine back, because apparently Chris Pine's in the movie.
She's probably some hallucinations.
Or a flashback or something?
No, because there's a photo of him with a fucking fanny pack, which is very 80s.
Right.
So it'll probably be like she looks at someone who vaguely resembles him, and then she'll see Steve Trevor walking around, and then she'll follow him, and then it'll be someone else.
Could it be an illegitimate child of some sort, or or a grandchild, or whatever it would be?
It would have to be like a fucking great grandkid, because the first one's set in 1918.
Right. Well, you figure let's see. I'm trying to think. An average. Let's see. My grandmother was in her 70s, so we'll say 20 when you have a kid. I'm just trying to do the math here. No, it'd be a great grandchild. You're right.
That would mean he would sleep with someone else. They had a kid. That guy or that child had another child who looks exactly like Chris Pine.
Well, I mean, it's happened in other movies. It's not the first time that's happened. I mean, Bicentennial Man, you saw that, didn't you?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not the first time it's happened.
I see your point.
And
I think it's a bit of a stretch.
No, I'm not saying it's not a stretch, but I'm just curious, you know. And by the way, to your quick point, did he sleep with her? I don't think he ever actually slept with her.
I think he fucked her. I think he definitely fucked her.
When? Like, at what point? I'm not disagreeing, but what point in the movie?
Well, I don't think he impregnated her, but I'm saying he had...
No,
I'm saying that far-fetched theory that he slept with someone else who had his child and they had another child that looks like him. I think he definitely slept with her after they saved that town or something.
You think so?
They had that whole party where... Yeah, I think they both.
Which, by the way, we need to talk about that movie because that is clearly the best.
Oh, we're leading up to it, but I want to finish telling you what else is coming. So, Wonder Woman 84, Kristen Wiig is going to play Cheetah.
I'm actually okay with that. I think it's going to be good.
It depends. If they're going to make her a fucking like cheetah woman, like furry and shit like that, that's going to be weird for me. But if they're going to make her like just a normal villain who her code name is Cheetah, then I'm fine with it.
What about like a Spider-Man type thing where she's got the cheetah powers but doesn't like look like a cheetah? Maybe not a suit. I'm not talking about a suit, but just like Spider-Man's got the powers that spiders have, but he didn't mutate into a spider. You know what I mean?
I mean, I also think the Kristen Wiig cast is so out of left field. It was just...
Well, she's capable of it, though.
I'm definitely curious.
She's good at playing a straight woman. I've seen it. So she's good at it. I think it's going to be okay.
I think she could be a better dramatic actress than... I was never overly fond of her as a comedian. Pedro Pascal, who's also... Do you watch Game of Thrones?
No.
Okay, so he's it.
You yelled at me about this once before already. So.
Okay, so they are actually allegedly making a cyborg film. So in April 2014, Ray Fisher, that was his name, Ray Fisher, is cast as Victor Stone's cyborg, blah, 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 blah. Joe Morton will reprise his role. In November 2017, Fisher's still in development. Blah, 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 blah. It's scheduled to be released in North America in 2020. Then comes Green Lantern Corps 2020. So let me see what it says here. So they described by the studio as Lethal Weapon in Space and will feature Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart as protagonists. It's still in development despite the studio's leadership shakeup. Jeff Johns was hired to rewrite this film's script. So that's what
I gotta tell you, going back to Flash, I don't like Ezra Miller. I just don't.
I think he was terrible.
Yeah, he really was.
Okay, so here we go. This is studio scheduled release dates for February 14, 2020 and June 5th, 2020 for Untitled DC Films. They announced a Lobo film. So they're making a Lobo film, but they're not going to have the guy who's being perfect as Lobo.
Right. I'm not a big Lobo guy anyway, so
Lobo is one of the rare ones where Stan Lee was like, I'm jealous that DC made Lobo because that's such a fucking amazing character. Guy Ritchie allegedly is going to direct it.
But see, if you're going to make a Lobo movie, I think you have to make it almost a la Sin City or The Crow. Like, it's got to have that kind of...
I agree. Guillermo del Toro confirmed who's making a film based on the Justice League Dark.
That could be good.
Okay, Greg Berlanti was developing a film that centered around Barry Allen, The Flash, and then he went on to do the show.
Which was probably the smarter move, honestly.
Oh, much more. Phil Lord and Christopher Miller, the guys who did Lego Movie and were the original directors of Solo, they were going to do it. Then they signed on to do Solo instead.
They were going to do what?
They did Solo instead, and then they were going to do Flash.
Okay.
So now, in March 2018, the filmmaking duo of John Francis Daly and Jonathan Goldstein, and they wrote Spider-Man: Homecoming. They're going to do it, and they're saying it's going to be Back to the Future as an inspiration.
What movie was it? I'm sorry, I missed it. I was looking at something.
Flash.
Okay.
So they're not saying Flashpoint. They're just saying Flash.
Right. But if they're gonna Back to the Future-esque type movie, that's Flashpoint.
Yeah, I see it'll be Flashpoint-esque. Okay, so then they talk about the Batman standalone. So this is what I'm more interested in anything. So Batman standalone with Ben Affleck was set to direct and co-write. That didn't happen. Then he stepped down as director, and then Matt Reeves, who did War for the Planet of the Apes, took over. So then he confirmed the script was being rewritten. So he's rewriting it. The story has reportedly been reworked to focus on the titular character early on in his career as the vigilante. So I think Ben Affleck he doesn't look young enough to do it as an origin, but it could be when he about maybe 10 years before, because they grayed his hair for Justice League. So just don't gray his hair.
I think two things. Number one, if they casted him in a Batman movie around the time he did Daredevil, he would have been perfect. I mean, he was good anyway, but he would have been perfect at that time period.
See, that's why he did Daredevil.
No, I know that. I'm just saying that would have been perfect. Number two, he's a pretty decent director. Do you think he could have handled a Batman movie if he was directing it?
They originally wanted him to direct Justice League.
I know that. Oh, Justice League. I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, they wanted him to direct Justice League before Zack Snyder was like, oh, no, it's my baby. I'm going to do it. And then that was taken away from him as well. I think he could have totally 100% directed Batman. I was more 100% interested in his direction of Batman, especially with Deathstroke as the villain.
Yeah.
But now it looks like we're just going to get another carbon copy of Batman Begins. I will say this. I had a really good theory that actually Mark Bernardin had reiterated. So we were both on the same wave, which was cast Casey Affleck as a young Batman.
Okay.
And then have it flip-flop back and forth of older Ben Affleck as Batman, looking back at his youth and his first story, and have a Casey Affleck, because they look enough alike and sound enough alike to do it. But
it doesn't work now because of the shit that Casey Affleck got himself into. But
exactly, but that could have been done very well.
By the way, I'm a couple episodes behind on Batman on Flatman, or Fat Man on Batman. But he's doing something with Marvel. Bernard got a job with Marvel. He isn't. If he says on the episodes, I'm not sure, because like I said, I'm a couple episodes back. But he tweeted something the other day that his day drinking days are over. Looking forward to it. Hashtag Marvel. That was the tweet. That says something. And Kevin's been saying for years now, hire this man. Like, how many times have you heard him on that show? Someone asks them a question about a script idea, and, Kev gives his 45-minute answer, and in 5 minutes, Bernard gives a better answer than Kevin,
100%. There was one thing he said for Jessica Jones. Did you ever watch Jessica Jones?
Oh, yeah. I'm all caught up. I love that series.
So he had this idea for how to end the first season, and I 100% agreed. And now that I think about it, I'm like, why the fuck did they do this?
Mute your phone, damn it.
Sorry. Well, let me mute it on my tablet as well. I forgot to do it earlier.
Well, the tablet shouldn't be making any noise because your earbuds are in. But anyway, you should hear it in your ears, but we're not hearing those.
No, I'm hearing it on both. So I muted them both. So for how she kills Purple Man, David Tennant.
Yeah, Kilgrave.
Kilgrave. She snaps was Purple Man, but she snaps his neck. Whereas Bernard said she should have just ripped his tongue out. So then he's forced to live with everything, and he can't control anybody. He can't talk. Right. I'm like, fuck, that would have been so perfect. And so Bernardin is always like one step ahead.
He's a genius. Bernardin's flat out genius.
Okay, so allegedly there is still plans to make a sequel for Man of Steel.
Ugh. Who's directing?
Matthew Vaughn. Matthew Vaughn confirmed he had met with the studio to direct the film, but that was way back in September 2017. They are talking about making a Booster Gold movie as well as a Blue Beetle movie.
Yep. I think Bernard wanted the Booster Gold. He wanted in on that, I thought.
He really wanted that.
Yeah.
Suicide Squad sequel, as well as a Birds of Prey.
Could the Suicide Squad movie be good if they basically just forget that they made the first one? Like, use the same character, that's fine, same people, but don't, in terms of story, just forget it happened?
I think if they did a shakeup of some of the characters, like not have Deadshot, not have I don't think Will Smith will come back. I think he saw the criticism and he said, "Nope, I'm out." He's not stupid. He's made some bad decisions in his career, but he tries to stay away from making sequels if he can avoid it.
Right, but he did a good job. Like, I mean, he wasn't the problem.
No, he wasn't the problem, but I don't think he was. I don't know. I don't know about that. I think I'm getting, as much as Margot Robbie was nearly perfect as Harley Quinn, I am going to get a little tired of seeing her because they're going to be putting her in a sequel. She'll probably be the sequel of Suicide Squad if they make it. They're going to put her in a there's going to be a Joker Harley movie. There's allegedly going to be a Harley standalone film. There's also going to be the what's it called? I know, Gotham City Sirens.
Right, which is now which is what was going to be the Harley standalone. They did away with that and they made it the Sirens movie.
Okay, because I had heard they were going to do a Harley movie as well to Gotham City Sirens.
Well, the way Bernardin tells it, it's just going to be the Sirens movie.
Well, yeah, because look, the whole thing is now we're going to get 2 fucking Joker movies.
Yeah, which I don't even want to. Please, I mean, we probably should, but I don't want to. Like, I just don't even want to talk about it. Like, it just irritates me.
They announced yesterday that like the one with Joaquin Phoenix is going to start filming soon.
I want to actually tie back to the beginning of the episode for a second. Deb and I were watching Sucker Punch last night, like I said, and not a great movie. But the girl who played Baby Doll, how much of the movie do you remember?
None of it.
Okay. She was a short girl with blonde hair, and she wore it in pigtails for 99, if not 100% of the movie. And I'm telling you right now, if they had dyed her hair, not red and blue, but red and black, like, Batman animated Harley, or even Arkham Games Harley, she would make a really badass Harley. She really would have been a good choice. Not that Margot Robbie did a bad job, but she would have been a great Harley.
I mean, you tell me. Is it Abby Cornish?
Hold on. I'm going back to that. No, Emily Browning.
Oh, the main character?
Yeah. Now, in some of these pictures, she's got brown hair, but if you cycle through, there's got to be a picture of her in Sucker Punch.
Well, she's Australian as well, just like Margot Robbie.
Yeah, there's no picture on IMDb.
I know her from the... What the fuck is it? The Series of Unfortunate Events movie that came out with Jim Carrey years ago.
Oh, I didn't see that. Listen, are you on IMDb?
No, I'm on Wikipedia.
Okay. I was going to say, go on IMDb and go to Sucker Punch, because you'll see pictures of her there.
I'll just look up Emily Browning.
Right, but you specifically need pictures of her in Sucker Punch. Here, hold on a minute. Here, can you see that?
Yeah, I see it. I actually do see it. My whole thing was, look, I thought Margot Robbie looked perfect for the role, even with the ridiculous fucking costume they gave her.
That's what I'm saying. But this girl looks even more perfect.
For me, the most important thing is the voice.
Yes,
and
that high-pitched New York accent voice, yeah.
And Margot Robbie almost had it.
Yeah, almost. Yeah, she did a pretty good job.
She had it more in The Wolf of Wall Street.
I've only seen that once. I'd have to go back and watch it, to be fair.
Her voice in Wolf of Wall Street is pure. I mean, if she had just high-pitched it, but she didn't have the Brooklyn accent as much as she should have in Suicide Squad. She had the high-pitchedness,
Yeah.
But she didn't have the, pudding,
right.
It seemed a little forced, but she nailed the accent in fucking Wolf of Wall Street. All I'm saying is, why the fuck did she combine the two? It would have been spot on perfect.
Where you from, kid? Queens, Brooklyn.
Brooklyn. Yeah.
My favorite part of that whole fucking movie. Like, there's a lot of parts I like. But that's my favorite part of that whole fucking movie.
I didn't realize this, but that was also a throwback to First Avenger.
Is it? I haven't watched it in so long.
When fucking Stanley Tucci's Austrian professor scientist dude,
right?
They talked to him and he said, "Where are you from? Are you from?" Because he caught him with all of his multiple times where he's trying to get into the army.
Yeah. Okay.
He says, so where is Steve Rogers actually from? He's like, Queens. He's like, Brooklyn.
Yeah.
It's a nice little
yeah. So
throwback.
Let's get to the crown jewel of the DCU, because that's Wonder Woman, hands down, right? Like,
oh, absolutely. It is still by far not a perfect film, but for the DCEU, it is the perfect film that they have.
Well, first let's talk about the significance of it. Let's get, I don't want to say political, but let's get, woman director. Women wrote it, I believe. I think it's a female writer as well. And then definitely,
I'm gonna have to look that up.
I'm not 100% on that, but definitely female director, and Gal Gadot as
Gal Gadot.
I've heard it said both ways by her.
I've heard she says I've heard her say Gal Gadot.
Okay.
I think I mean.
And my first exposure to her is from Fast and Furious. Because she's in Fast 5, 6, and 7?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure, yeah.
I haven't seen all the Fast movies, but because I saw the Furious, most of the Furious movies, I was very late to them. I saw them after I saw Batman v Superman.
Okay, that's fair. And yeah, she makes the appearance there as Wonder Woman, which I still thought was a good call. And then they make this movie, man. I mean, you want to talk about a good movie with a good origin story. That has a good origin story. That's an origin story that you don't like, like it's good. It's played out well. It's built well. It's a really good movie.
So, director, Patty Jenkins.
Yep.
Screenplay by Alan Heinberg.
Okay, so a guy, but that's okay.
With a story by Heinberg, Zack Snyder, and Jason Fuchs. I'm going to pronounce it Fuchs because otherwise I'll pronounce it Fox.
No, I think it is Fuchs, but all right, so 3 guys wrote it, and that's not a big deal, but I'm just saying, like, it's still
woman influence, for
right,
sure.
Absolutely.
You can tell.
And it's the first female director to make the money that it made, if I recall. Like, she's the first female director to make that kind of revenue on a movie. I don't mean her salary, I mean the movie making would have made.
Absolutely.
So, and especially in this Me Too environment, it's perfect timing. I mean,
really, really. I mean, it was right before the Me Too thing.
Yep. I mean, I don't think that affected people watching it, and I hope it didn't, because it's a good movie regardless. But
there was a lot of male chauvinistic bullshit when that came out, because they did one time where it was just women only could see it.
Yes.
And men split the fuck out.
Yeah, which is so stupid. Fuck those guys. Any of those guys that had a problem with it, you go fuck yourselves. That's my opinion. I'm not going to speak for you, but that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. But my normally I'm the more aggressive, like, fuck you guys, you don't like it. But my whole thing was like, let women have their fucking movie, for Christ's sake. Like,
absolutely.
My whole thing was because until Avengers Infinity War, I had never gone to see a movie on 3 separate occasions until I saw Wonder Woman. 2 was my max. And it was usually because I saw it with, like, my friend, and then I saw it with my mother. But so I saw Wonder Woman 3 times, and that was the first time I had done it, with the exception of me working in a movie theater, and then, like, that's my break, I'll watch, like, another 20 minutes of whatever the fuck is playing.
Right.
So I saw Wonder Woman the first time with Michael, and I fucking was blown away by it. Admittedly, he and I are both drunk because of the theater that I worked at. They served beer and wine. So we knew enough. So we went ahead and we like kept going back and forth to the counter and buying our beers. And so we had 6 fucking IPAs each in front of us. So, and we're just pounding them. And we pounded the first 3 before the movie started. So we're buzzed and tipsy. So we had an overall great time. Second time I saw it, I was on a date. And she was less, she was into the movie, but she was more interested in grabbing my fucking cock at the time. But I don't need to go into that.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Yeah. And then the third time I saw in theaters was with my mother. And this was the opinion that I really wanted above all, because my mother is the type of person who loves Spider-Man, loves Superman, loves Batman, loves Iron Man, loves all those fucking things. But she also gets her DCs and her Marvels confused.
Okay.
So when I was like, Infinity War's coming out, she's like, great, I want to see Batman. I'm like, Batman's, God damn it, Nancy. But she knew it. She was also asking me is Wonder Woman part of Marvel? And I'm like, no, it's DC. She's like, I want to see it. I really want to see it. And I'm like, when we walked out of the theater, that part in No Man's Land where Wonder Woman walks across No Man's Land.
Yeah.
My mom, who, if you know my mother, you 100% believe this. She yelled, yeah! Such excitement, so happy, and didn't hold back her genuine pleasure. And so when we walked out of the movie, I asked her, what did you think? And she said, oh my God, Rico, I love Iron Man, I love Spider-Man, but when am I going to get my Iron Woman? When am I going to get my Spider Woman?
Yeah.
She's like, this is what I've been looking forward to is, someone that I can, a hero that I can relate to. I'm like, you can relate to her? Well, I can relate to her as a woman, and I think I'm pretty wonderful. I'm like, all right, I
come on.
Yeah, that's Nancy. So
go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you. Go ahead.
No, so the movie itself was great, but that brought me a giant smile to my face. Just so my mother could be overjoyed. And also because she didn't have to see Batman vs. Superman or Justice League.
Right.
She could just watch Wonder Woman and be happy with the story. She didn't have to, I didn't have to give her a whole fucking
background
heads up before or after watching the Avengers.
So I have to ask, because our biggest movie critic that we know, I have to ask, what did Steph think?
I don't remember. I didn't watch Wonder Woman with her. I kept telling her we should watch it together, and then she went on and watched it without me.
Okay.
She watched Batman vs. Superman without me.
Okay.
Because I told her, I said, we've got to watch this together. And we didn't. And then she saw, she did this whole, marathon thing with her mother. She saw Wonder Woman and then Justice League, I think. So she saw Wonder Woman with her mother.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't remember what her opinion was. I think she said I liked it or whatever, but I don't know if she loved it. I don't have the answer.
We'll have to get that for the next episode, because I'm curious to get her, because she is such a realistic when she looks at these movies, and it's her Black Panther take and Jedi take and all that. So
I think with those movies she knows, with Black Panther and Infinity War, she's like, well, they're trying to be as realistic as possible. So at least with Wonder Woman, it's Greek mythology. So, I think Steph, when it comes to Avengers and stuff like that and Black Panther, that take themselves seriously, and they do have aliens and shit like that and Norse mythology, but overall it does go into our real world a lot. I think she looked at Wonder Woman as just a Greek mythology movie, so she can. I'm not speaking for Steph, but I assumed if she liked it was because of that, where she just sort of it's just one movie, one plot. She doesn't have to follow a ton of shit.
Right. And that's how a lot of people liked it, because it was a very much standalone movie. You didn't have to see or know anything else to enjoy that movie, whereas some of these other movies, in both worlds, DC and Marvel, you need to kind of have some background. Not that you can't enjoy it, but it makes more sense. Whereas Wonder Woman, flat out, was just a movie.
And like I said, it was a good movie. It was not a perfect movie. It definitely dips down. Oh, God.
Well, that last
I can't believe we
the
forgot
last act definitely dips
Remember we
down.
were talking about Danny Houston last time?
No.
I was trying to make we were talking about X-Men Origins and about how he played a young fucking
he's in that movie. Yeah.
I completely forgot he was in Wonder Woman. He played the fucking pissed off German Nazi dude.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't Nazi. It's pre-Nazi, but still.
Yeah, it's the 1914 Germans, not the 40s Germans.
Yeah, So, in the final 30 minutes kind of dips down a little bit, especially when, spoiler, you get the big fucking reveal that the guy who's playing Ares is like the soft-spoken fucking British dude.
Yeah, because going back to your Steve Houston is the guy's name.
Danny
Houston. Sorry. She thought he was Ares the whole time.
So it was just a whole switcheroo.
Right.
And at the same time, watching it again, you're like, oh, it's so fucking obvious he's not going to be Ares.
Yeah.
Like, it's so obvious they're going to do a whole twist. I also, here's the thing, because my mind went even further. David Thewlis, who played the British dude, he plays Professor Lupin in Harry Potter.
Oh, right. Yeah. Now that you say that.
And he was also he originally auditioned and was almost cast as Professor Quirrell in the first one.
Which professor is that again?
He was the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher who stuttered, and he had Voldemort on the back of his head with the purple turban.
Yeah.
So, watching Wonder Woman and knowing that David Thewlis was originally supposed to play Quirrell, I couldn't help but think, like, this is his Quirrell moment, where it's the whole switcheroo. It's Quirrell, but it's, we thought it was going to be Snape, trying to get the Sorcerer's Stone, but turns out it's Quirrell all along, the unsuspecting British timid guy.
Right.
He's a fine actor, but I also it was almost painfully obvious that they were going to do that.
Right, and which, by the way, it begs that we do a Harry Potter episode, so that's coming. Probably with Debbie, but not certain.
Well, you need to see Fantastic Beasts first. I mean, you did finally?
Yeah, I watched it because I was only halfway through it when we did that episode.
That's
watched it after we stopped recording. I watched the rest of it that night. So, yeah, I've seen it. I'm caught up.
Okay. Well, we'll talk about it. I don't know if I should rewatch the movies. I think I know enough of the lore and the movies to really have it.
If Deb does it with me, and her and I have been talking about it a lot, we're going to do like a marathon and try to get through if not all of them, as many of them as we can, and especially Fantastic Beasts. Like, we both feel like we need to see that again. So
I need to see that. I need to see that another time, because I only saw it the one time and I didn't love it. I was very kind of like, meh, it's okay. Well, I'm more interested in the next.
Yeah, I agree.
About a young Dumbledore and a young Gellert Grindelwald. That's what I'm interested in.
But it was nice. It was nice to see the American twist on some of the European or English stuff, like the fact that they don't call it the Mystery Magic and things like that. Anyway, let's save that for the Harry Potter episode.
But it throws me off at the same time. Yeah, you're right.
Hey everybody, CJ here with a few thank yous, and I'll let you know how you can get in touch with and follow the show and us. Go to iTunes, Stitcher, and Google Play Music to listen to, subscribe, rate, and comment on the show, or Listen Notes podcast search engine at www.listennotes.com. Go there, type in PodAskew, all one word, and you can stream us right there. If you want to agree with or yell at us directly, follow Rico, me, and the show on Twitter. The show is at PodAskew, Rico is at Rants Rico, and I'm at M_Blade. If you need to contact the show for promotional reasons, tweet Stephanie at PodAskewPR. Check out Rico's YouTube channel, Rico's Rants, on YouTube at www.youtube.com/RicosRants. Thank you to Dubbed in English for our opening theme music, 96 Reasons. They're no longer online, but you can contact me for a copy of the full song or the entire Plan 9 EP. Thank you to Samuel Lemons for our closing music, Theme Askew. You can find his music on SoundCloud at www.soundcloud.com/Samuel-Lemons. Finally, our biggest thank you is to you, everyone who listens to the show. Rico and I really appreciate your time and look forward to bringing you another episode soon. Hey, Rico? I got nothing, man.